Just last week, I was in Mexico and I was having a conversation with a friend that I've known for close to a decade. And unfortunately, this friend was not taking care of his body whatsoever. As I was talking to him and I was giving him advice, he came up to me and he said something that I've heard so many times. He's like,
"Well, Dan, of course it's easy for you. You're the fitness guy. You know this stuff already. You were born in the gym."
And something I had to let him know is that is so far from the truth that it's almost ridiculous. Now, what you may not know, if you've been watching these videos, if you've been on my social media, or if you've been reading my newsletter, is the fact that when I was growing up, I was an absolute degenerate. I was a fat, lazy, high school dropout who spent most of my time chasing pleasurable activities, whether it was playing video games, drinking, doing drugs. I was pretty much living a life that was lacking purpose and I was headed nowhere fast. And I hated the gym. I thought it was a place for blowhards and douchebags who only cared about how they looked.
Tired of the same old you? Tired of being overweight and under-attractive? Yeah!
But one day, something changed inside of me. I went from loathing exercise to becoming addicted to it. I was trading eating potato chips and sitting on my couch playing video games for taking walks and loving to eat healthy foods. So what happened? I didn't know it at the time, but I literally tricked myself into loving hard things. I get excited when I see weaknesses and I attack them relentlessly with relentless consistency. I changed who I was at a fundamental level, and for today's video, I want to show you how I did this and a simple formula that you can use to create massive change in your life. Now, one thing I want to let you know, that this is not about some bullshit dopamine detoxing or using willpower or just like grinding it out. All of those things are highly overrated and quite unnecessary. Today, I'm going to share practical things that have actually worked for me and many others so you can start integrating the love of doing hard things in your life. And one of the things that I know that lead to a great life is the fact that the more that you push yourself to do hard things, to do things that make you feel uncomfortable, the better your life gets. So, are you ready to change your life? If so, let's go. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Dan Go. I help high-performing entrepreneurs and busy professionals get in shape, lose weight, get lean, boost energy in a way that fits their lifestyle. And I know that if you're watching this video, about 84% of people who watch this video are not even subscribed to my channel. So if you are looking to get into the best shape of your life and do so in a way that is easy and actually meaningful, then subscribe to this video. Now, before getting into these steps, I want to let you know the formula for massive success. It is a 3-step formula that's enabled me to do so many things. It's enabled me to get my body in shape, to build an audience of over 1.5 million followers, to build an incredible business. It's allowed me to meet the love of my life. And I guarantee you, if you follow this simple formula, it is going to create massive change in your life. So the formula I'm talking about is SU plus DTW plus I equals massive success. Let me break this down for you. So step 1 of the formula is the most important part, which is to show up. If you do nothing else but this, you will be more successful than 90% of the people out there. For me, when it came to starting a habit of exercise or starting a social media channel or building a business, my only task in that was to
Show the up.
And I'll use an example from when I started to exercise. Most times, I didn't really want to exercise, but I committed to one thing. I committed to walking through those doors. They actually say that the heaviest door that you have to lift inside the gym is the front doors. And I just committed myself to just showing up and opening those doors. If I wanted to leave, I could have left, but most times I actually stayed and did some work. Now, I did everything wrong. I probably looked like an idiot, but I didn't care. I just showed up, and let me let you in on something. Showing up is the prerequisite to achieving anything in your life. You cannot be a player if you are not in the arena. Are you not entertained? But once you've shown up, what do? The second step of the formula is to do the work. This is not some trite platitude that you post on your wall, hoping to inspire you. Look, Once you're in the arena, okay, the only thing left to do is some actual work. In the beginning, you want to make it simple and you actually want to be away from any outcome-based type of mindsets. Stick with the basics and do not expect too much for yourself. And the main thing is to give yourself permission to be a beginner, because all of us had to start somewhere. So as you are doing the work, the final step is to consistently look for ways to improve. So here I am in 2024. I've committed to posting one video a week on this YouTube channel. It's going to come out on Saturdays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I have committed myself to just doing that. Now, as I am doing this work, every time I do a video and I'm looking at the analytics, I'm reviewing the stats. I'm writing in a journal to actually give myself some pointers on how to improve my videos. And I know that if I do this enough times, I'm going to invoke what we call the power of compounding. And even if I just improve these videos by like 1% every single time, I'm eventually going to create some awesome videos. I've accelerated this by buying courses, by hiring YouTube coaches, by surrounding myself with people who are after these same things that I am as well. So when you are showing up to the arena and doing the work, looking for ways to improve, there is no doubt in my mind that you are going to succeed, because 99% of people don't even do this shit. So with that framework, here are the steps into how I tricked my brain into loving doing hard things. So the very first step is to focus on the one thing. So before I started on my journey, I was a complete degenerate and I just dropped out of high school. I pretty much was at rock bottom and I was looking to change, but I didn't exactly know what to do and I didn't have any motivation to really spur myself into action. I was deficient in almost every aspect of life that mattered, and trying to solve all of them just seemed overwhelming. So here's what I did. I focused on one thing that if I changed it, then it would have a massive impact on my life. I didn't focus on cold plunging. I didn't focus on cold showers. I didn't focus on biohacks or any type of other bullshit. I just focused on one thing that I knew was gonna have a massively domino effect that would change the course of my life. And the thing that I chose was exercise.
I lift things up and put them down.
Now the problem when people try to change things is that they try to change too many variables and they don't focus on one thing at a time, which makes them quit in the end. In the book, The Paradox of Choice, the author states that having more options can actually lead to anxiety, indecision, and dissatisfaction. Too many choices can overwhelm an individual, making it harder for them to make decisions and actually reducing their overall levels of happiness. Now to counter this, he recommends by simplifying choices, by focusing on what truly matters, and this enhances quality of your life and contentment in a world of abundant options. Now going back to me, I could have chosen anything from changing my nutrition to trying to fix my sleep to trying to stop drinking, but trying to do everything would cause me to feel hopeless, and again, I would quit. So the one thing I decided to focus on was exercise, and yet the thought of exercise was so foreign to me. So I made it easier on myself by focusing on step number 2. And step number 2 is to make it fun with low incentives. Now, you would think I started my habit of exercising by forcing myself to go to the gym and starting to grind it out until it became a routine, but that didn't happen. I knew I needed to exercise, but the thought of working out with other fit people around me was intimidating, especially as a beginner. So I decided the best way to make this a habit in my life was to make it fun. So I loved 2 sports as a child. It was basketball and beach volleyball. So one of the things I decided to do was to join my friends at their basketball runs. In the summertime, I would actually go to the beaches and play beach volleyball, because in Toronto they have like all these courts at this place called Ashbridges Bay where just a ton of people just play beach volleyball. So I just went there and I just started to play. I committed to playing either one of these sports 3 times a week, and it not only brought more joy into my life, it actually created this habit of moving my body. Now, the key point here is instead of searching for ways to do things in the most optimal way, search for ways to make it fun. Search for ways to make it preferential, because the thing that you do consistently is infinitely better than the thing that you do optimally. So after a couple of months of doing that, exercise and movement was a part of my life and I was loving it. But I didn't want to stop there, because here's the thing with getting results. Here's the thing with actually creating positive momentum in your life is that you actually just want to keep on growing. You want to keep on eking it a little bit further, but you can't really do that unless you start in the first place. So I wanted my body to look freaking amazing, and I knew I had to hit the gym, but again, I was a beginner, I was intimidated, so how exactly did I do that? I remember I just did one thing that literally just tricked myself into going to the gym.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
And that was just creating low stake incentives. So when I committed to go to the gym, I literally told myself that the worst thing that would happen is that I go to the gym and I see some hot women. And the best thing that would happen is that I go to the gym and I actually get in shape. And the really cool thing is that I ended up achieving both of those things. But by creating these low stake incentives, I created reasons for myself to follow through on my desired behavior, which was to go to the gym. And I have this really funny story because as I was starting to go to the gym and as I was starting to lift weights, albeit just horribly, I was probably lifting like a complete noob. I remember about 2 weeks into that, I ended up going to the change room. You know how you go into the change rooms? It's just a funny thing. It's like you have all these old guys just like putting their legs up all naked and blow drying their private parts or whatever. For some reason, I just distinctly remember that. Now, I was changing inside this change room. That story had nothing to do with what I was talking about, but anyways. I remember changing in this change room and I was putting on my belt. And as I was putting my belt on, I noticed that my belt went about 2 notches in, and I was just like, what the heck is going on here? And something that I did realize is that even by doing things horribly, I was actually getting some really amazing results. Now, how can I keep this in my life, and how can I get even better results? Now, this leads me to the final step. Now, the final step is to find positive role models. Back in the day, I was heavy into raving, and I remember I was partying every single week until 6 a.m. in the morning, getting wasted, being high on all sorts of things that I didn't even know what I was putting into my body at the time. And by the way, I don't recommend this whatsoever. Very dangerous and survivorship bias is real. I survived, but anyways. I remember one day I was coming home at 6 a.m. in the morning, and as I was unlocking the door, I was pushing into the keypad. I opened the door and then I see my dad. My dad had a bag on, he was in his like workout clothes, and here's me completely high, hair's disheveled, there's dirt on my face from God knows what. And then I remember, like, you know, as a kid, I was like, okay, well, be as normal as possible. Just be as normal as possible. So I ended up going to him in a weird way. I was just like, hey, where are you going? And then my dad just basically told me in a very disappointed tone, he's like, I'm going to the gym. He walked right past me and then he just shut the door and that was it. And ever since then, I saw him go to the gym and turn himself from a fat, overweight, overworked entrepreneur into literally being in the best shape of his life at 40 years old. And my dad was the first example of what good health looked like. And I've told him so many times that the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because he set the example in the first place. And then after my dad set the example, I joined my friends. I actually got a group of friends or found a group of friends where they were going to the gym and I was just like, hey, can I just like, you know, tag along with you? And I started to tag along with them. Now, if you're watching this, you may not have parents who set the same example or friends who would go to the gym with you. But what you must know is that there is power in proximity. So in the journey to doing hard things, you need running mates, you need mentors, and this can be in the form of friends, communities, coaches, mentors. It could be in the form of even parasocial relationships. I mean, the people that you follow on social media, I hope that you're actually following some just healthy people, I'm saying mentally and physically, that can actually be a great example of the person that you want to become. And I truly believe that if you show me the people that you hang around and the people that you consume the most from, I'm going to show you your future behaviors. Now, with those 3 steps and using the framework that I showed you, I basically made the weakest areas of my life into my strongest. And as the saying goes, easy choices, hard life, hard choices, easy life. You have to understand that your life is going to be determined by the amount of hard things that you do. And what you may find from this video is that doing hard things is less about dopamine detoxing and some biohacking bullshit, and more about simplifying the process to make it work for you. Now, as you apply this, don't expect to change your life immediately upon applying it. Give this a time horizon of at least 1 year, and then start expecting some really significant changes in month 3 and beyond. And life is going to be hard one way or another. You might as well choose the hard that suits your own self-development. Now that's the end of the video. Now, in the comment section, I want you to let me know what's that one thing that you're going to choose to start working on, and then now start to apply the framework that I gave you. And then I'm going to see you probably 6 months to a year from now, and your life is going to change. So thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.